Do you worry whether you're leading your team or are you just managing them, especially if you're looking to get ahead into those more senior roles? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to tell if you have that special leadership spark. And don't worry, if you think you're just a manager right now, I've helped hundreds of people transform from having a manager mindset into being inspiring leaders, and I can help you too. You will discover the real difference between management and leadership, plus the exact traits that I think separate true leaders from managers. Trust me, what I'm about to share might completely change how you see yourself and your potential. Let's start by understanding the difference between management and leadership. I was working in a consumer products company with some teams. There were two team leaders handling similar teams and similar projects. The first leader, James, was just so incredibly organized. He had detailed project plans, he tracked every deadline, and ensured everyone followed the processes perfectly. His team met all the targets, but they worked in, I suppose, quite a mechanical way. They did what was art they were asked to do. But when an issue came up, they immediately looked to James to solve it. And on the whole, James did it, indeed, quite well. Then there was Sam. He was not as experienced as James, but he had this ability to get his team excited about their work. He was always sharing stories about how their projects would help customers and encourage his team members to suggest better ways of doing things. While James's team met expectations, Sam's team consistently exceeded them, not because they were forced to, because they wanted to. And I think this demonstrates how management is about controlling processes, while leadership is about inspiring people to achieve more than maybe they thought possible. So managers focus on planning and organizing tasks, prioritizing and delegating work, meeting deadlines and objectives, and following established processes and procedures. In other words, making sure the work gets done. While leaders focus on creating vision and direction, inspiring and motivating others, driving change and encouraging new ways of doing things, and building empowering relationships and trust. Think of it this way. A manager ensures the team follows the process correctly, but a leader questions whether it's even the right process to begin with. It doesn't matter what level you are in an organization, anyone can demonstrate leadership qualities. And in fact, I'm a firm believer in leadership at all levels. So whether you're an intern, an individual contributor, a middle manager, or a senior leader, true leadership isn't about your position or your title. I've seen entry-level employees inspire and guide their peers, and I've witnessed executives at the top who struggle with the basic leadership concepts. There's a common misconception that managers manage and leaders lead. But if we look a little deeper at how both management and leadership are at play in the different organizational levels, we can see that they are both there. So let's firstly look at supervisors. Their management focus is on day-to-day tasks, getting things done, scheduling, and immediate problem solving. However, they show leadership by mentoring team members, building team cohesion, and translating their high-level goals into meaningful action. While most of their time is spent on management, leveraging their leadership skills can significantly improve their team performance. Next, middle managers. Now, for management, they're often coordinating multiple teams. They're implementing processes, setting goals and strategies, prioritizing work, and ensuring that the departmental goals are met. In leadership, they foster cross-team collaboration. They're guiding, unblocking obstacles, coaching and developing future leaders. They bring the strategic initiatives to life. And finally, senior leaders, they manage by setting the organizational structure, establishing policies and priorities, and overseeing resource allocation. When it comes to leadership, they create the long-term vision and strategy, shape and model company culture, and inspire the organization to achieve its goals. The key difference is that while management responsibilities exist at each level, the need for leadership grows the more senior you go up the organization, because the number of people you can lead and influence just goes up. This is why learning and nurturing leadership skills at all levels is so important. Not only will it help you develop faster in your career, you will get better results and engage better and with more people. Which brings me to the signs that show you are already leading. These are really the mindsets and competencies of leadership. And the more you adopt them, the more leadership influence and impact you will have. In my corporate days, if there was one thing that I looked for in my team when I was looking for future leadership talent, it was this. Work and leadership, I'd like to think, is about two things: people and problems. Work gets done by people, and problems, it's just, they never stop, do they? So some people see the problems, talk about the problems, but wait to be told what to do about them. Whilst other people are what I call proactive problem solvers, and I bloody love them. You are a proactive problem solver if you see opportunities where others see obstacles. You stay calm under pressure when solving issues. You're proactive, so you see what needs to be done and you just get on and do it. And you don't stay in the hierarchy. You know who to talk to in other teams and departments to cut through issues and get things done. The result is, over time, people end up coming to you for a solution. This is a vital mindset of leadership, and natural leaders are just proactive problem solvers who don't wait for permission. They see what needs to be done and they just start doing it. One of my daughters has a weekend job in a garden centre, which she's had for the last 2 years, and she has become the person who trains the other weekend staff on how to use the tills, the policies, and how to do the job well. She refers to her team as her of weekend colleagues as my girls and demonstrates the next sign, even though she's only 18 years old. The second sign is that you genuinely care about other people and them succeeding in their role. You genuinely find joy in their success. You naturally support and mentor team members. You're invested in helping them reach their potential. And you will have the difficult conversation, even if you don't want to or feel nervous about it, but because you know it will help them succeed in their role faster. So sign 2 is that leaders find that they genuinely care about others' success and naturally mentor those around them. The next sign that you're a natural leader is that you have great communication skills. Now, this skill I always think can sound a bit like blah, 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 because it's no surprise that if you're leading well, you need to communicate well. But the challenge of communication is that it's a habitual skill. And what we may have developed bad or less effective communication skills over time, and we can be completely unaware of it. If I were to put my finger on what are the communication skills that really differentiate the best leaders, I think it's this. During a recent workshop with a senior team, I noticed just one person who just stood out. So while the others were all talking about the topic, I could see she was fully present. And when she spoke, she asked really thoughtful questions, reflecting what others had said. Everyone listened. And she just had fantastic impact. So the third sign of a natural leader is that you listen. As a consequence, people feel heard when talking with you. You ask thoughtful follow-up questions and you remember important details about conversations, which helps you connect ideas and frame problems well. What these leaders do is listen to fully understand, not just to respond, and they ask lots of questions. To assess how well you do this, it's essential to become conscious a little while about how you communicate. So ask yourself, do you talk more than you listen? And in your conversations, who talks the most? This simple check will usually tell you if you need to focus on and practice on your communication skills. Years ago in my corporate life, there was a perfect example of this next sign, and it is one that we can all easily fall into if we're not careful. There was a situation where a team member shared confidential information about some upcoming organizational changes with a few colleagues. Well, this information was like wildfire and it quickly spread through the informal channels and it created so much anxiety and speculation. It's all anyone wanted to talk about. Now, when the official announcement finally came out, the damage was already done. Trust had been broken, not just between people and the leaders, but in the team. And what made this situation particularly damaging was that some of the initial information shared was completely inaccurate, leading to unnecessary worry. It took months of consistent, transparent communication from the new team leaders to rebuild the trust that had been lost in just a few conversations. Now, this perfectly illustrates how gossip and breaching confidentiality can quickly unravel the trust in a team. Natural leaders understand this. Trust is like oil in the engine of leadership. It takes a long time to build and it can be lost in a moment. But the more you can build trust with individuals and across your team, the better the teamwork will be. Trust building is important as a leader, and signs that you can do this well include you're consistent in your words and your actions. You trust others, and as a result, you find that people naturally confide in you, and you maintain confidentiality and keep out of the gossip and all that negative stuff. So the fourth sign that is that you build trust easily. This next sign of leadership is particularly important in our world of constant change and uncertainty. In 2006, Carol Dweck's book Mindset introduced us to the principle of a growth mindset. Now, this powerful belief system recognizes that skills and talents can be developed through focused effort, learning, and guidance from others. So, when you adopt a growth mindset, you see challenges as opportunities for learning and actively learn from your mistakes. You understand that hard work and persistence are crucial for success. You're not discouraged by failure, viewing it as a chance to improve, and consequently stay optimistic during challenges. You're willing to seek guidance and you learn from feedback. But here's the powerful impact of this mindset. By bouncing back from failures, you develop resilience. This resilience in times of change and uncertainty is vital for your mental health and your ability not just to cope, but to thrive. So, side 5 of being a natural leader is that you view challenges as learning opportunities, and as a consequence, you're resilient in the face of setbacks. At this point, you may be asking if these mindset and skills are learnable. And the answer is yes. And they're even more attainable if you have this final sign of being a good leader in place. So when I run workshops, I always ask, what's the biggest challenge that leaders face? And the answer is nearly always the same: time. They tell me they just don't have enough of it and feel like they're always on the back foot. Now, President Dwight D. Eisenhower had a lot on his plate, not just as the 34th US president, but also as the US Army general leading the Allied forces in Europe during the Second World War. I imagine he felt pressed for time. Yet he created a time management concept to help him prioritize and manage the numerous high stakes issues that he faced throughout his career. And decades later, the author Stephen Covey, in his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, took Eisenhower's concept on and developed it into the widely recognized Eisenhower matrix. This is a gem of a thinking and planning tool, yet many managers don't know about it or don't use it. But those who do are showing natural leader sign number 6. They manage their time effectively while ensuring that they have space to think about strategic challenges and actions that will strengthen their leadership. Let me explain how. So the Eisenhower matrix helps prioritize tasks based on 2 dimensions: urgency and importance. And it divides tasks into 4 quadrants. So the first quadrant is urgent and important, which is short-term issues, pressing deadlines, and emergencies. The second quadrant is important but not urgent. Now, this incredibly valuable box covers strategic planning, relationship building, and personal development. The third quadrant is urgent but not important, and this includes some meetings, routine tasks, and some emails. Quadrant 4 is neither urgent nor important, and this often fills up with time wasting activities, inefficient work, and even more non essential emails. One of the biggest challenges that managers face is spending too much time on the urgent side of the matrix, constantly putting out fires, dealing with issues. This reactive approach leaves little time for true leadership activities that typically fall into the important but non-urgent quadrant. So true leaders understand the importance of prioritizing the non-urgent but important tasks that prevent future crises, solve bigger challenges, and drive long-term success. They create systems to manage their time well. They delegate effectively to reduce time spent in the urgent zone, allowing them to focus on strategic thinking, team development, and innovation. So what these leaders are doing is creating systems that make leadership more sustainable. As a result, they ask themselves the right questions at the right time. which helps them to be even more effective problem solvers, think about the needs of their teams and stakeholders, and build trust. They also have time to focus on their personal development. Now, if you're wondering how they do that, what would go into an effective leaders planning system? In this video, I'll share the exact framework I use with my coaching clients to strengthen their leadership planning skills and, as a consequence, their natural leadership abilities. So I'd go there next.